What's up, everybody? Appreciate you for tuning into another edition, Passion and Precision. We missed last week, but we're back. Got another great show ahead for you. We're going to talk about obviously the finals. They are going on. Got a game 7, so we'll talk about that and what we think might happen. We'll look at some NBA news and notes in terms of the Knicks and what's going on with them. Katie, Giannis made some news since the last time we were on, so we'll talk about that. It should be a fun conversation. Then we're going to get some NFL as well. We're about 75 days out from opening kickoff. So we're going to look at lists because every website's doing lists now. So we're going to look at quarterback, wide receiver, tight end duos. I feel like Jory and I will have a interesting conversation around that, as well as good old Aaron Rodgers, who is officially a Steeler, and he had some comments about playing for the Steelers. So, got a lot to get into. But before we do, gotta let you all know, Jory Sports Stories. How are you doing tonight, Jory?
Tired, but I've been holding this in. I've been holding on this in since last week, so
Yes.
it's time to go
Yeah.
off.
Okay. And also, gotta stick around till the end. Final burn, because it's gonna be good. You already know Jory brings the energy. I actually have a final burn tonight, so you gotta stick around just for that. Okay, I will say
And
who
you
I'm
know
who
where
I'm
I'm
going
going
at.
with
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I feel like you give little hints throughout the show that people kind of pick up on. But for me, I'm going at a big name. I'm gonna say that. So with that, let's go ahead and start NBA wise. So yeah, let's start with the Knicks. The Knicks eliminated Thibodeau. Gotta go, as every Knicks fan said. But normally, when you fire a guy, you have a plan on how you're going to go about your coaching search. So the Knicks basically did, we'll cherry pick from somebody else's team. We're the New York Knicks. Like, we can do that. They get denied by everybody. So they're left with their, you know, I guess holding the bag by themselves. But we did learn that they plan on interviewing Taylor Jenkins, former Memphis Grizzlies coach. The same Memphis that Stephen A says like a war zone, don't go there. But Taylor Jenkins and Mike Brown, former Cavs coach, interviewed for the Knicks position Wednesday, I believe. So where we all stand, do you think the Knicks are going to actually hire Jenkins or Brown, or is this just a part of a whole mess of a coaching search that's going to continue?
they don't know what they want to do. I wish they should have figured that out before
Mm-hmm.
firing Thibodeau. You go
Yeah.
ask the Hawks, you go ask the Timberwolves, you go ask the Rockets. Hey, can we talk to your coach? You know, is there this thing called pride? Hold on 1 second.
What has Mike Brown done? His record is actually pretty good as a coach. Now, obviously, he did coach Cleveland with LeBron, blah blah blah. But he's been in Sacramento, he's
Get
been
up
other
here.
places. He's won.
Get up here now.
So you gotta give him that. He has a winning record as a coach.
Anyway, they just look clueless. They look like they don't know what they're doing. They don't have a plan. Why would you go why would you go for somebody who already has a job when there are coaches who are available? It's not like there wasn't any good names that were already available. That's backwards.
Mm-hmm.
They look a hot mess right now. Good luck.
I mean, Jenkins is, interesting because Jenkins was wasn't a bad coach in Memphis. You could argue the roster in Memphis might have been the bigger issue, which they moved out Desmond Bain, which is something that happened since the last time we did talk. I don't know if that comes up, but they did do that. So they're making changes now out in Memphis. Mike Brown, I mean, it is interesting because Mike Brown seems like he has a shelf life where he goes. Like he went to Sacramento early on, looked really good. Then it didn't. You got let go. And I don't think it'd be a terrible hire if they went with Mike Brown. Hey, what's going on, John? Damien, what's up, too? Why is him alone? I honestly don't. I was gonna say like I don't know if the Knicks want Mike Malone, but I mean they're going
That's
after
like a
Eric.
left
I don't know
move.
why they haven't talked to Mike Malone anyway. Because I mean, you wanted to talk to Billy Donovan. Like Mike Malone's actually out there and available. At least talk to him. Doesn't mean you got to hire him. So I don't know. Maybe he's gonna be like after they talk to Taylor Jenkins. Like I don't know. It's hard to
You
tell
know,
what the Knicks actually want in a head coach.
they asked Billy Donovan, "What the hell have the Bulls done?"
They asked
He
Quinn Snyder,
asked Quinn Snyder. The
who's good
Hawks
at
have a Trey
Utah.
Young issue.
Yeah. They asked Ime Udoka, who then got an extension in Houston. So Houston was like, we'll just put that to rest.
Right.
And they asked
Asked Chris
Jason Kidd.
Finch.
Mm-hmm.
Asked Chris Finch and Jason Kidd, and you got told no. The most funny thing is that they told the Bucks that they could request. The Bucks told them that you can talk to Doc and Ham, and they didn't want to.
That's right. Ham's name did come up the other day, too. I, I mean, you're going to talk to Mike Brown. Why not talk to
So
Darvin
you
Ham,
don't
too?
know what you want,
Mm-hmm.
but you know what you don't want. Gotcha.
Yes. Let's see. Surprised Johnny Bryant's name is not in the mix. I mean, Vegas had Johnny Bryant as one of the favorites. Yeah, they haven't talked to him. They haven't talked to Sam Cassell with the Celtics. They haven't. I don't. I feel like the Knicks went into it was like, hey, between Kidd, who played with the Knicks, why wouldn't he want to come back? Between Udoka, it's like he's down in Houston with that young team. Coming to New York, more established. Like I feel like they really thought they were gonna get one of those guys to leave their situation to go to New York, and now that they swung and missed on all of them, I think now they're trying to come up with a game plan on what to do. Luckily for them, nobody else is really doing a coaching search, so they can kind of mess around with whoever they want to at this point.
They look like idiots.
Yeah, I mean, Damien puts it, uh, as long as Dolan owns the team, they're kind of a dumpster organization. I mean, Dolan hasn't had the best record in New York. But if you were a Knicks fan, with all the excitement from this past season, you were eliminated by the Pacers. I'm sure Knicks fans thought it should be a desirable job. Based on this search, doesn't really seem like it is. I don't know how much Taylor Jenkins is going to move the needle for Knicks fans. I don't know how much Mike Brown
Or
would.
some of these coaches are not willing to go to the Knicks because of how they did Thibodeau.
That's also got to be part of it because Thibodeau is respected amongst coaches.
You know they
And,
do that.
and some of it could be when you look at the roster, I think some coaches you might look at it and be like, is this something that's sustainable for the Knicks? Or was this almost like a Hawks type thing? Remember the Hawks made the conference finals that one year? Haven't been anywhere near since. Did
Mm-hmm.
everything kind of line up perfectly for the Knicks to get to that point? But they actually have some issues on this roster. So maybe some coaches are a little hesitant right now to step into that. Plus, you're going to have the pressure of being in New York. And now that Knicks fans have tasted the success, they're going to want more next year, especially with Tatum out. They're one of their bigger rivals in the Celtics being hurt. They will want to be a top 3 seed again next year. Want to be in the conversation for the conference finals again. But is it possible with this roster?
A Smith on your ass too.
Mm-hmm. And the Morris twins, because they're talking about like they're Nick legends. I mean,
They can be
get them off.
quiet. Get
Yeah.
them off my goddamn screen.
John
They can
says
shut up.
John has somebody who's a dark horse. James Borrego. That's an interesting name. You know, he coached the Hornets, which that's another organization that's not necessarily the best run. But Borrego, not that long ago, was seen as a good young mind in the NBA. Like, if you're going to fire Thibodeau, you might as well go to the other end and get a young guy who could probably bring a new, fresh perspective. That's an interesting name, John. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I have no idea where Borrego is right now. I'm going to assume the Knicks probably don't have him on the radar because, like I said, looking at the names that they've been chasing, they want a name that if they hire him, it's going to be back page news. You know, guys on the subway will be talking about it. Like, that's what they're clearly going for with the Knicks.
Oh, so they just want to be a
Pelicans,
show.
okay.
Got it.
I feel like the New York teams, that's their motivation. Who can beat out who for the back page?
They just want to be a show. They're not serious about winning.
Mm-hmm.
Teams that were serious about winning don't do this type of bullshit crap.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Just a thought here. What if the Knicks give a former enemy a chance? Larry Bird was not a bad head coach. Larry Bird wasn't a bad head coach. That was also a while ago.
That was a long ass time ago.
Yeah, and Larry Bird, wasn't in the best health with his back. I doubt he's trying to get back into coaching.
Go touch grass. That man is in his 70s, ain't he?
He's got to be up there. I mean, since his time with the Pacers, like, you don't even really see Larry Bird anywhere. Actually, let me see. How old is Larry Bird? It's actually a good question. He is 68 years old. So you basically nailed it. Yeah, I'm going to say, go on a limb, Larry Bird is not going to be anywhere near this coaching situation. Yeah. So, look, the Knicks will continue to bring names in. Like I said, Brown's interviewed. Jenkins is set to interview at some point. My money is they don't pick either one, but you never know. Like, it would be, look, I wouldn't put it past the Knicks that the Knicks wait for whoever loses the finals and tries to get an interview with them just to be told no again. But I would not doubt it if they did that.
If that happens, I'm going nuclear.
Look, you started down this road, like, you might as well just try every and any team and see who gives you the opportunity in the interview.
Ask the Chinese teams while you're at it.
I mean, yeah, hit up some international people. Why not? Like I said, they're the only ones really running a search right now, so cast as wide of a net as you want. All right, let's transition to another NBA. Well, this one, more so a player now. Let's talk about Giannis. Giannis is a guy every offseason loves to make news. I don't know if you noticed, Giannis has kind of been active on TikTok. At least for me, recently seeing him on there. And I'm like, all right, so he's in that bag right now. He was on there like ranking fast food places. I was like, okay, yeah, this is Giannis.
Here we go, Giannis.
I mean, that's as Giannis as it's going to get on social media. Damien, you keep trying to pawn off Billy Donovan. Look, I think y'all stuck with him for now.
Y'all gonna be stuck with Billy Donovan, and it's,
Yeah,
from it sounds like it, the Bulls gave y'all a firm no. I think the front office wants to keep him.
that's yeah. I'd have to
A
assume next
hard
season's
no.
got to be a good season for Billy Donovan if he wants to keep that job. But you know, um, so Giannis, he a lot of this offseason was kind of built around Giannis's motivation of whether to stay in Milwaukee or if he wants to leave. So Giannis, sitting there, he says that he wants to make it back to the finals with the Bucks. I assume if he's not trolling, which he loves to do, that means he wants to stay in Milwaukee, make it work, get back to the pinnacle as he did a few years ago. And then it came out that the Bucks sell job to Giannis is a larger on-ball role, which I guess means he's about to be point forward extraordinaire next season. So I guess the
So
question is,
Milwaukee's plan is just to have Giannis rolling down the court all season.
yeah, get him downhill. I mean, look, he's still a freight train where he gets momentum towards the rim. Not a lot of guys are wanting to get in front of him. I get that. But is that really the formula for the Bucks to win next season and going forward?
No,
That's
Damien.
that's the question.
Giannis likes Doc.
Yeah, it does seem like Giannis is a fan of Doc. I mean, if he wasn't, there's a chance that Doc would have been gone as soon as the season ended. The fact that he hasn't been
He
fired
would have
yet,
got the Adrian Griffin treatment.
that's also true. Yeah. So as crazy as it sounds, maybe Doc is the reason Giannis, as he's saying, wants to stay in Milwaukee. I mean, some Bucks fans don't want to hear that probably, but
I know.
that's what it
I
looks
know.
like.
I know one.
Yes. I mean, he's famously on here. He calls him Glenn now. He doesn't even call the man Doc anymore. Um, I mean, I guess the first thing is like, should we believe that Giannis wants to stay in Milwaukee?
Yes, because he wasn't trolling. I can
Yeah.
tell. I'm getting good with Giannis because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes with Giannis, you never know.
Yeah.
But I'm starting to get. I'm starting to get him a little bit. He's so freaking unserious,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, bro, answer the question. But anyway, I think he does want to stay in Milwaukee. He's very established in Milwaukee. Him and his wife do good charity work and good thing. They're very established in Milwaukee. I think he wants to stay there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if it comes to a point that it's clear to him that the organization isn't capable of making the right moves necessary, I do see him eventually coming to that conclusion he needs to leave. But as of right now, he wants to stay. He says he wants to stay in Milwaukee. I believe he wants to stay in Milwaukee.
Yeah. So Damian puts, does this man want a championship or not? I know it's hard to like project throughout the rest of Giannis's career. But if Giannis wants to win another championship, do you think he could get another one in Milwaukee?
Let's see. Get rid of Doc, which is Giannis's coach, or
Okay.
force Doc to adapt. That's number one. This is a
Mm-hmm.
reasonable way to fix a team. I know somebody's watching this. We're not turning Mitchell Robinson into JJJ. We're not doing
Mm-hmm.
that.
Right. So John says now with the Bucks.
Anyway, so if they really, if they're serious, get rid of Doc or force Doc to adapt, which means if you're going to force him to adapt, you have to get younger.
That That's
How
something they
crucial.
need to do this offseason. They need an infusion of youth almost at every level. Yeah, keep going.
Find a way to package Kyle Kuzma up and send his ass to Taiwan. Like, and they're gonna have to make a decision on Damian Lillard.
Yeah, because Dame
They
is
have
what?
to make a decision. Do you want to go for it another year, or do you want to
Hmm.
try to see what type of value he still have, and maybe get some assets that you can turn into viable talent? You have to try any other viable avenue to get younger. That team is old and slow.
Yep.
And the only
And the,
way you're gonna get Doc to adapt is if you force him to adapt with the players that he has.
yeah. And the hard part with Damian is if Dame was healthy, he would probably have some value because if Giannis does stay, that's a big name that is off the trade market.
Mm-hmm.
So what the Bucks probably have to hope is that Dame can come back at some point next season, show people that this injury is not going to completely cripple his career, and then maybe you look to move him next season. I think right now, as bad as it may look, because as John put, Giannis and Dame take up a huge chunk of the salary, which, I mean, based on how you maneuver the rest of the roster, may not be the worst thing. It just means they'll have to buy low, get young players that maybe are outcasts on their own team and try to develop them a little bit. The draft is going to be very important for the Bucks going forward if they're going to kind of sustain greatness with Giannis. It's not going to be easy, and a lot of people, I think a lot of teams are dealing with that. Where this new NBA, where you're talking about first apron, second apron, and all the limitations that come from it, you have to be smart with your money. And right now, I don't know if Dame is smart money, but because he is hurt, you kind of have to factor him into your future until he can
Mm-hmm.
reestablish value. Because look, the worst thing for the Bucks would be Dame comes back from the injury, he's like steps slower and everything, and then you really are in for it where you're trying to move off of that. So I think he has potentially 3 more years on that deal, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And if he looks horrible after off the injury, like that's gonna be 3 long years with him. So they're gonna need Dame time to come back and be Dame time. Damien, I see your question. I think that is an interesting one because of what we're dealing with in this climate right now. I'm gonna say
Yes,
I
I've already
it might
started to
depend on the
see.
sport. It might depend on the sport because of what we're dealing with. Very whatever. Not going to dive into the
Did you see
politics
what
of it.
happened at the Dodgers game and the
Yes,
statement that the Dodgers put out?
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's because there's beef between DC and LA right now because of the people involved. Like I said, I want to dive into the politicals of it, but I think it's going to be case by case. I think as a whole, the NBA I think will be fine. But sports like sporting events like the World Cup, I think that's going to be interesting next season. I mean next year. I mean there's
We're
some talks
supposed
of
to have
FIFA
the
talking about
Olympics in
pulling it from the
2028.
US because of Olympics as well. Like now when you're dealing with like international competitions, I think that's an interesting question, interesting discussion to have. I think NFL, NBA, those I think they'll be fine unless they like get way out of line and whatever. So as of right now, I'll say they should be okay.
Where's the line? Ain't no
That's a
line.
good question.
There is
That's a
no
good question.
line.
It's hard to
Visas are getting
tell.
snatched for no freaking reason.
Hmm. Boxing and UFC,
Absolutely,
yes.
Damien. So yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because look, the poor kid at Duke, he had to worry about what's going on. And it seems like he's going to be okay. But that's not to say that more um, players and stuff like that might not have fears or be looking over their shoulder, of course. But I'm going to say sports rises above it a little bit and they'll be fine. I don't know. I mean, actually a really good question, Damien, because there's just so much uncertainty going forward that you know that is something that these leagues are going to have to think about. But I'll say they'll be okay for the most
Hmm.
part. All right. Let's see. So it looks like we're good on Giannis. Oh, KD, Kevin Durant. So Durant and his agent slash business partner, whatever. When it last week they were like, expect a deal maybe this week. I'm gonna assume that's not happening this week.
Are
But
we
we
gonna
kind of have
just
some teams.
are we gonna
We kind
just
of have
turn
teams
this
though.
whole Kevin Durant thing into another Aaron Rodgers saga? Because I'm already getting sick of it.
I, I think it could. The only thing is, I don't think Durant would want that. We know, Durant has rabbit ears. So the longer he is out there dangling on the trade market, the more he'll be open to criticism and critique. That's not what he wants. I think in his mind, he'd love to have it done like the morning after the finals end. It just
Hmm.
be done with it. Because at least we know teams that are interested, or at least teams that Durant is interested in. And we got the Heat, Rockets, Spurs. Even the Knicks jumped into this. I was like, here we go. Y'all just want rejection. Y'all just want a summer rejection, I can see. Although this one's a little different because Durant, I think, likes the prospects of New York. Reportedly, the Knicks are like, no, we're good.
They
So
can't
bold take.
afford them.
Well, they may not want the headache of 37-year-old Kevin Durant. A couple of years ago, they wanted Durant. Now,
And then I look at Miami. I'm like, you're not a Kevin Durant away.
I mean, for Durant to want to go to Miami, that's clearly just for the South Beach vibe.
Exactly. He just wants to be in Miami year round
Yeah,
and chill
because
out.
yeah,
He
I
wants to
don't
live like
understand
a
what
bachelor. Because clearly that
exactly.
team
Because
is
I'm
not
like,
a Kevin Durant away.
yeah, especially when you look at what Miami would have to give up, and even that, I'm just like, if I'm Phoenix, what do I want from Miami that Miami's going to give me? So,
Pat
yeah, I
Riley.
think that's just a personal preference of South Beach. Oh,
Hmm.
Minnesota was a team I forgot to throw in there because Minnesota's kind of has kind of entered into the process. It has, a lot of people have been thinking. You get Ant, KD together. I heard, I think it might have been first take, talking about would that be the best duo in the league? And I was like, you might want to calm down with that.
No.
But yeah, I mean, where do you think KD what would be the best spot for KD? A team that you think is close, and if they got KD, because we just said the Heat aren't a KD away. Who is that team that's a KD away?
Depends on how you want to look at Houston.
Mm-hmm. Houston's biggest issue: late game,
They don't want to come off their
need a
picks. So,
bucket. Who do you go to?
mhm,
You have KD on the court. You go to KD.
exactly. But they also need more leadership, and I don't think Kevin Durant is in to try to corral the youngins.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Damien, Dwight Howard's in the big three now. He's not in Taiwan anymore.
And then you look at the Spurs. Who they got to come off of some with some of them players.
It'd be some of those, yeah, some of that youth that they have. And
I
well,
don't think
picks.
they want to do that.
Picks will be the big thing because Phoenix needs picks.
Hmm.
They stink without picks. That's the absolute worst place to be. But if you're San Antonio, you have number 2, you have number 14. I feel like the Spurs are too smart of an organization to go the number 2 pick. I think they would offer the 14 pick.
Hmm.
Yeah, John, we'll talk about that one right after the KD talk.
The Heat. What is on that roster that is even remotely attractive? And what picks do they have that are remotely attractive? Man,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's just like if KD goes to Miami, that would tell you the rings that he has right now. He's good. He just wants to be comfortable, and he
send
sees
his ass to
himself after
Charlotte.
a game kicking it up on South Beach and just wasting the night away. And he is perfectly fine doing that for the next couple of years.
Send his ass to Charlotte.
He would be miserable in Charlotte.
Good.
I, I mean, Charlotte is a team that needs to kind of do something. There's only so many years I can take of people like, oh, LaMelo Ball, Bridges, Brandon
Free
Miller.
Brandon Miller.
Like at some point, all these high draft picks in Charlotte, when does that equate to wins?
I'll take him.
I wouldn't doubt Brandon Miller wouldn't be happy getting out of there. Like Bridges can stay. I mean, Bridges, whatever. Katie to
Bridges shouldn't even
Portland.
have a roster spot.
I mean, yeah.
And that's why
Katie
they're trash. They do things like that.
So Damien says Katie to Spurs doesn't make sense because they're getting younger. Problem is, the mindset in the NBA is you can be young to a certain point. Then at a certain point, you're just too
Inexperienced.
immature to win at a high level. And then most of the time, you have a bunch of young players. You then trade away some to get a vet. So that would be the
What happened
Spurs.
in
That
Memphis?
would be the Spurs thinking they're close with the young players that they do have. Now they need that vet.
What happened with Memphis?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we could transition to that because John didn't want our thoughts on Desmond Bain going from Memphis to Orlando for Cole Anthony, KCP, 4 first-round picks, which a couple of them are pick swaps, and then another first-round pick swap.
Hey, hey,
See?
hey, hey.
Even Bella's like, that's a lot for a guy that you've coined as a T-Rex.
Hey.
Look, I feel like I think Jory and I talked about it on here before that Memphis needed to do something with Triple J, Ja, Bane. They couldn't bring all 3 back and think the team was going to get better. They decided Bane was the one to go because I think during that conversation I said it probably comes down to Ja or Bane who moves. There's a good chance they may move Ja as well. I don't know, but Bane was the first one to go. Cole Anthony, KCP, whatever. I don't think Memphis cares about that part of it. The picks, though, for a team in Orlando that has some young talent that, has like a log jam at the guard spot, getting rid of Anthony and KCP does alleviate that a little bit. But now you have more picks to throw at, getting a guy to run alongside Banchero. And Franz Wagner, I'll say Franz Wagner has kind of established himself as the second guy in Orlando. I think there's a conversation of whether or not that makes Orlando good enough, or should Wagner be like your three, and you still have to find that sidekick. But now you have picks to do it.
Hmm.
Because one of the pick swaps, you could swap with the Wizards or the Suns. We all know one of them is going to be really bad. So that's Memphis looking at a possible like top 8 type of pick. So I think Orlando came out okay. Like Bane, I'm not the biggest Desmond Bane guy, but he fills a need for Orlando because Orlando's biggest problem, perimeter shooting.
Hmm.
That's what Desmond Bane can do. On Memphis's side, those picks are going to be, yeah, like that's what they need. Like if they decide to keep John J and Triple J, you use those picks on other pieces. If you move Jaw and then you really start it over, you need those picks to replenish the talent. So I think Orlando did okay. I think Memphis did great in the deal.
Yeah, Bella didn't like that.
Bella's not a Desmond Bain fan.
I don't think she's a Grizzlies fan. But considering that I'm a Lakers fan, even though one fun fact about my Chihuahua that y'all heard, she aggravates me when the Lakers are on, but and anybody else is on. But if the Celtics are playing, she is quiet.
She's a dog that she knows her stuff.
Makes no sense. And that's
No.
why we fight so much.
So yeah, I mean, what were your thoughts on the Bane compensation? I guess who do you think won the trade?
I know Orlando won this trade, but at the same time, well, Memphis, they got the picks. Orlando, they got the player and they offloaded a bad contract.
Yeah, KCP
That's the
was
thing. So I think
awful
Orlando in
last
the long run won.
year.
KCP was terrible.
Mm-hmm. Cole Anthony didn't
And you
fit
can find
their
another
guard
Cole
rotation.
Anthony on the street.
Absolutely. So Damien's saying, do the Grizzlies need to get rid of Ja? Ja might be the most polarizing player in the league right now.
I'm not there yet. Now, if we have another season where his availability is a question,
Mm-hmm.
I will start looking at that. Because with both Ja and Zion, even though Zion, his reasons are astronomical.
Yeah.
Are just flat out stupidity and injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Zion is undisciplined and Ja is immature.
Yeah.
Pretty much. If we have another season where we question his availability, I will start looking at that. I'm not there yet.
Like, I mean, look, part of me, I almost give it like a 40% chance that the Grizz move on from Ja this offseason as well. But I think because of the Bane move, I could be convinced with him staying. Like you said, Ja stays in Memphis this year. He needs to show that he can be a leader. Last year, he turned into like a sideshow. And
Yes.
it's like with everything that went on in Memphis, like that's not what was needed. Like you're a
You
team that
know,
fired. a good coach right before the playoffs, right before the end of the season, and you out here doing gun celebrations, grenade celebrations, and all this kind of stuff. Like,
That's what got him fired. I kid you not.
yeah, because it looked like Jenkins had no control of that team. Well, no control of their star player. So, yeah, can Ja just be a leader this season? Not a high bar. That's the one thing we say about Memphis every year. Where's the leadership?
Doubt it. Because him and
Yeah.
Zion came in the league at the same damn time.
Mm-hmm.
Zion was supposed to be the next face of the league.
Yep.
In a minute, he about to be he should be, if all of his allegations are true, the face of the league.
Mm-hmm. Pelicans have to be growing tired of Zion. Like, I get why they took him. They needed that jolt of energy after the AD departure, but he's been as big of a disaster as they could have possibly have thought of when they drafted him. It's been as bad as it could have been. And at this point,
It's starting to piss me off.
it's almost like, Zion needs somewhere else to go to try to resurrect his career, and the Pelicans need Zion out of the picture so they can kind of function as a team and not have to worry about, well, how do we keep him healthy? Then he comes back, he plays, he has like a good game. And it's like, well, how do we get more of those good games to happen? But then he's like gone right away. And it's just like,
Because of a hamstring.
yeah, Zion
Random
equals
side
Sanders.
note.
Yeah.
My Braves piss me off. You just swept the damn Mets and now you're losing to the Marlins? Are you kidding me?
That's baseball. That is baseball.
What does he mean by Zion equals Sanders? Are we talking about Shador? Are we talking about
I'm assuming Shador. I'm assuming busts. I don't.
I'm
Hmm.
gonna need you to elaborate.
Yeah.
Zion,
Disappointments. I don't know. Even
I
that's
don't think
different.
Shador is a disappointment. I think Shador is immature.
Yeah.
He was smelling himself.
Hmm. Yeah. Braves have been wildly inconsistent this year. Early part of the year,
They've
you
been
understood
on.
because Acuna wasn't back, and then Acuna comes back, still
I
inconsistent.
have one nerve with them, and they're
Mm.
tap dancing on it.
Okay, so Damien said Zion Sanders for being toxic and immature.
Zion more than Shador.
Yeah, Shador you could say is immature. Toxic, I don't
He
know
is
if he's
immature.
toxic yet.
He
I mean,
keep
he
doing
keeps,
dumb. He
yeah.
keep doing dumb ish that's preventable,
Hmm.
like slow down, lead foot. To do that within days, two within days. I
Hmm.
learned after my first $130 something ticket for going 70 something in 55.
Hmm.
And I understand as a former lead foot,
Hmm.
it feels good to go 100 miles an hour. My car had a turbocharged engine in it. I could push that thing.
Hmm.
I understand. But once you get a ticket like that,
Right.
and he lucky he ain't in Georgia doing that.
Hmm.
Ohio's traffic laws, I don't know that. But going 155, they either would have arrested your ass or slapped your ass with a super speeder ticket.
Hmm.
And those have very heavy penalties. You have to be careful.
Let's see. Well, like Jory said, Zion's been in the league a lot longer, the longer history. Shador's not off to the best start. I mean, look, he dropped in the draft for reasons. It was a big story with the rookie mini camp or whatever. It seemed like he was building some goodwill because he was performing well.
And
But
then this
then
happened.
the two speeding citations, stuff like that, doesn't necessarily help his case. But for him, it's very simple. If he makes the Browns team, if he's a good teammate during the season, nobody's gonna care that he got a couple of speeding tickets. Like that's whatever. I mean, it's the same league where we deal with Aaron Rodgers off season, cave, getting high in caves and hosting Jeopardy, threatening to quit and all this kind of stuff. Like we dealt with that toxic dude
And
for all
talking
these
about
years.
caterpillars and bulls.
Yeah, like yeah, it's like Shador doesn't need to continue this trend, but first touchdown pass he throws, nobody's gonna care.
Aaron Rodgers getting high in a cave talking about damn caterpillars.
Yeah, like that guy. That guy
John,
couldn't
I
do it.
learned after that $130 ticket. My shoes
Mm-hmm.
cost $130. They took a pair of shoes out of my closet. I won't do that again.
Mm-hmm.
Or not, at least
That,
not on no back roads.
right.
Speeding is normal.
Hathaway. I mean, yeah, a lot of these guys, first time getting some money, they do some crazy stuff. And yes, because he's a quarterback, he's being talked about. Nobody cares about second round D linemen. Yeah. So yeah, Shador's first thing has got to be make the team. Seems like he will. I've been hearing like Dylan Gabriel's been caught up in trade talks. I haven't heard a thing about Kenny Pickett. It's
What the
basically
hell
just Joe
did Tyreek Hill
Flacco and Shador.
do this time? What did Tyreek Hill do this time?
What did Tyreek Hill do? People are still talking about Tyreek Hill. Did Tyreek Hill do any speeding recently? I mean, Tyreek Hill has some stuff in his past to talk about, yes, but I feel like all the only news he makes now is the him and Noah Lyles beef, which there's something
I
that
want Noah
nobody
to
signed up
stop.
for.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that was last year. That felt like so long ago.
And the Colts made fun of it in in their schedule release
Yeah,
video and took it
yeah.
down
That's why I
because
should have
folks were
remembered that.
complaining. I'm like, who was
And then
complaining?
like
Tyreek
Calais
thought it was
Campbell,
funny.
did Calais Campbell show up when that happened? Yeah, now I remember that video. Okay, yeah. I mean, yeah.
Look, my thing about the state of speeding in the NFL, y'all, and speeding and then getting these DUIs and all this other stuff. Just last year, the Vikings had drafted a rookie who never got to play because he was killed by a drunk driver.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And driving reckless like that can get you the same damn consequences. The first
Mm-hmm.
thing that my anybody told me, well, my dad, the first thing he told me about driving, one thing you need to understand, this vehicle will kill you. Once you understand that, you respect it.
Mm-hmm.
I just get it. Mm. But I don't think he's toxic. I think he just has some growing to do. Zion, on the other hand,
Zion's got to go.
has so many descriptive words: poor impulse control, overly horny, undisciplined.
Mm-hmm.
a fat ass, injury prone, unavailable.
Athletes will
The
never
list
after
could
him.
go on.
Yeah. Ruggs made news too. Isn't he out now?
He got out to do something,
Yeah.
to make a statement, to make a speech. He apologized to his victim's family, which I applaud him for. He's
Yeah.
actually supposed to get paroled next year.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see what happens with him when he does make parole. But yeah, I mean that was a story of, cautionary tale. Promising career gone just like that because got behind the wheel and
Drunk.
irresponsible. Yeah. All right. Uh let's see. Let's go. Mm-mm-mm. I'm kind of did all
We
the
were
NBA.
talking about the NBA. You
Yes.
want to go finals?
Yeah, let's talk about the finals very quickly and then we'll get into the NFL since it seems like the chat wants to talk some NFL tonight, which I'm I can appreciate that. So the finals got a game 7. Should be really excited for that. Yet I keep seeing posts about people like, oh, nobody cares about these finals. Blah, blah, blah. It's like whatever.
You just care about LeBron James. You don't care about goddamn basketball.
Yeah, and I think everybody said it was going to be an entertaining series. It's been an entertaining series. Now, where we'll kind of talk about this, like I said, I don't need to spend too long on it, but Game 6 was the first opportunity for elimination. Thunder went into that game up 3-2. Halliburton had the calf strain. There was a path for the Thunder to win Game 6, earn the title, all that. Not so fast. Pacers came out and absolutely put it on the Thunder. The Thunder had their body language looked like a team that knew Game 7 was in their building. So if they lost Game 6, so what? I think that's very dangerous to do with this Pacers team. Because this Pacers team has shown they can go to Oklahoma City and play well. And that's what,
Game 1. What is within
yeah.
this entire playoffs?
Mm-hmm.
They've done it this entire playoffs.
Yeah.
Even the Nick, I don't think did the Knicks series go 7? No, because they ended it
No.
at home.
Mm-hmm.
But they would have been able to end it in 7 at the
Yeah.
Garden. This entire time, this entire playoffs, they've gone into people's houses and started kicking tail.
Mm-hmm.
Or they wait till you get lax and figure out how to play basketball within the next 7 games, and now you're out of luck. Within the next 7 minutes, and now you're out of luck. This is
Mm-hmm.
a very dangerous team to have that type of mentality with. They're like a gnat.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't kill it, it's going to annoy you.
Yeah. So it's gonna come down to a game 7 in Oklahoma City, Sunday. Yeah, Sunday
Mm-hmm.
night. I mean, John. Actually, let me talk about John's comment here. Pacers move the ball better without Halliburton. Even when he's on the bench, they move the ball. Reminds me of another team, Brunson. I think there's a big difference between Brunson and Halliburton. I think Halliburton is a better playmaker than Brunson. Like it's easier for Halliburton to get other guys involved than it is for Brunson because the
Mm-hmm.
system in New York is tailored to Brunson being a scorer. So when he has the ball, his mindset is what spot can I get to get my shot? Halliburton, where it's different, like McConnell when he plays point guard, like you're saying, the ball movement's better. McConnell's not really a scorer, even though he's had a couple of games in this series where he's put up big numbers, but that's not his game.
Mm-mm.
And with Halliburton, because he's the primary ball handler, you also have to look at some of the other guys that are out there on the court with him. Not a lot of them can create for themselves off the dribble. So Halliburton's like tasked with passing them into certain spots on the floor to get them the best shot. So I think the ball does move with Halliburton, but I get what you're saying because Halliburton is a bit more of a scorer than McConnell, so he also has to look for his shot as well. But I think Halliburton and Brunson, I think that's yeah, I wouldn't make that connection. If the Pacers win this, Rick better win MVP because I mean they're never going to give a coach MVP. But I get what you're saying. Damian Carlisle would be a major reason for this team winning the title. I agree with that.
Yeah, and considering that, one thing I want to say,
Mm-hmm.
Chet, 4 damn points,
Well, I
four
was about to
points,
ask you who's the player that needs to step up. So I guess for you, for Oklahoma, it's got to be Chet.
4 points, bro.
Yeah.
Four. No, like in the game in the finals, I thought six was bad. You did one up. Four.
Mm-hmm.
Four.
Chet, yeah, Chet's been real up and down. Yeah.
I don't have to say anything else.
Mm-hmm. So you have Chet for the Thunder. So who for the Pacers will need to step up game 7?
Siakam.
Okay.
And Miles Turner has to be a little bit more efficient.
Miles Turner's been disappointing. He
They've
he
been
has
able to
some
cover
cat
for
to
him.
him. He has like some cat to him where they're just awkward on the court, and because of that, they when they struggle, it looks really bad when they struggle. Because I thought Miles Turner's biggest, way to contribute was going to be on the perimeter shooting threes. It's like his shot's been okay, but it hasn't been what I thought it was going to be. He's had moments where he could post up smaller Thunder players, but he doesn't really have a post game to go to. Like at least Cat has like a little half hook or something. Turner's like guessing when you give him the ball in the block. So I mean, it may come down to Turner and Chet, who contributes more in kind of deciding game 7. I think Siakam's a good one because Siakam in game 6, he played really well. He had that big dunk, which obviously was a big deal for the crowd and the energy in the building. So he's gonna have to step up for game 7 for sure. John says Dort. I mean, Dort, you're just asking him to play defense. I think we might have been
He's
spoiled with
not
some of
gonna
his
make
three.
5 threes again.
Yeah, we got spoiled by him making threes early in the series. The fact that he's not making them now, that's kind of who
And
Dort
they
is.
lost that game.
Yeah. Uh, Damian outsays things and LeBron wait until later. I mean, I guess I'll give this away. My final burn, I'm going in on Mr. LeBron. So
I knew you
I
were
will
doing
definitely
it.
address that
I,
final
I,
burn.
I just figured. I said
Uh,
that
when,
really
when
rubbed me
that
the wrong way.
when that soundbite came out, I was like, thank you. I've been waiting for my moment to take my swing at the king, and he gave me a reason to. So when we thought about the whole final burn segment, I was like, I just need one time to go at LeBron. And so, yeah, David, we're going to talk about that. David also says Caruso. I think Caruso's a good name as well.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so with all
Then
that, Nemhard's had a pretty good series, yeah. So who wins Game 7 and why?
Pacers.
Okay, so you have them winning on the road.
That's
Okay.
just a Pacers. This is just a stereotypical game, and considering the body language that I saw
Yeah, Game 6
from
was
the
terrible
Oklahoma
body
City
language.
Thunder,
Yeah. Okay.
um, they had the "I think we blew this series" look. You
Yeah.
could see it.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them were looking like, "I think we may have blown this series," even though you never really had it because you were down.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
But again, the Pacers have a way of making you regret game one, losing game one. That's going to come back to bite them. I got the Pacers winning by like 5.
Okay. I get that. Even though the game was in Indy, the Thunder should have gone into that like, let's end it here. But
Exactly.
but even if I don't even care about them losing Game 6 because you're on the road. The way that they lost it was a problem because you
Hmm.
had you had the Pacers on the ropes. You could have ended it, and you allowed the Pacers to come out and just blow doors on you.
You
And it's like,
started off like they
and they
started
yeah,
off
the Thunder
with
started
a
off well. It
ten
was
to
like,
two run,
yep, mm-hmm,
and since then it was like, oh, hell broke loose.
mm-hmm, yeah. So there's got to be some doubt creeping in some of those Thunder players. But luckily, they got Game 7 back at home. I mean, before the series, I had the Thunder in 6. Even though I've been not necessarily surprised by the Pacers because the Pacers were this last season, it's just that nobody gave them credit for it.
Even though
I'm
Missoula
gonna say the
second.
Thunder get it. I'm gonna say the Thunder get it in 7. But if the Pacers come out early and go on a quick little run, I think the same faces you saw in Game 6, you might start seeing in Game 7. If that happens, the Pacers will have them right where they want him, and I think it could get
Mhm.
ugly. But I'm gonna say SGA. I'm gonna say he has like a 30-point game in Game 7. I think we get a better version of Chet. I think Jalen Williams will play better. So I'll take the Thunder. John has the Thunder by 8. That's not a bad margin, but I'll say Thunder by 6. I think the Pacers are going to give Oklahoma everything they can handle in Game 7. So I'll take the Thunder in 7, and I'll say because Chet has a bounce back game. Okay.
If he does worse than 4 points
Then yeah, the Thunder don't deserve to win Game 7. So yeah.
and quit
Also,
sagging, dude. What the fuck? I mean, sir.
yeah, yeah. Also, I kind
I
of
was
need
gonna go
SJ
in.
to. I kind of need SJ to his assist numbers. I kind of need to see better from him. Like, if you want to compare somebody to Brunson, SGA is Brunson, just a taller
They're not.
version.
They're giving SGA hell. They're not letting him. They're not picking him up 60 something feet from the basket anymore. They're picking him up 30 something feet, and they're really making it harder for him to get
Yeah,
to his spots.
yeah. And that's
That's a
what you
great
have to do.
adjustment.
Yeah, but
Thibodeau.
I mean
This
that's
is
what
how you
Carlisle's been
adjust
doing.
in the season, in the
Yep.
series. This is how you
Mm-hmm.
adjust. Has been a series of adjustments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Look, if Game 7 comes down to a possession late, that works in the Pacers' favor.
Hmm.
Carlisle has done a better job this series than Dagno. And look, Dagno is still a young coach. Carlisle's been there, done that. But yeah, if this game is close late, all you picking the Pacers to win, that will be your sign that the Pacers will probably get it done. Like I said, I would trust Carlisle coming out of every timeout, trust him with every, defensive call, offensive set. Like I would just trust Carlisle across the board.
And the thing is, Halliburton looking as well as he did and playing the limited minutes he did, gives me a lot of hope for Game 7.
Yeah.
Because he's an second, he's the coach's left hand that's on the court.
Mm-hmm.
He's an extension of the coach on the court.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So you have Pacers in 7. I got Thunder in 7. So obviously next week we'll see which one of us was right. But yeah, so let's go NFL really quickly before we get into final burn. Let's see. All right, so talk about Aaron Rodgers. We already know he signed with the Steelers and everything. But Rodgers came out and said playing for the Steelers was good for his soul. Okay. Now I want to get all philosophical. So looking at that, does that make the fit better for you of Rodgers in Pittsburgh that this is where he wanted to be because it's good for his soul?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Absolutely the hell not. What you mean?
He's got DK Metcalf, John. He's got DK Metcalf is there. Pat Fryermuth. After that, I got nothing for you.
Exactly. What you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Pittsburgh is good for my soul. The couch is too. Go retire.
Yeah.
Goodbye. I'm tired. Like, bro, if you knew that Pittsburgh was good for your soul and just made all your chakras align and whatever, if the ayahuasca told you that Pittsburgh was your next destination, what took so long? Damn it.
Well, we know. He was out there with Brittany. I get that. That's gotta be the answer. This mystery Brittany. All right. So that doesn't make you feel better about the fit. I'm trying to see if we want to talk about how do we see the season playing out, but we'll save that because we'll start doing like predictions and stuff around the divisions. All right, so John keeps putting this in the chat. Let's address this here. People he's interested in watching this year said you finally have a quarterback. This man put Cameron Anthony Ward. Okay, put the man's middle name. The Hunters. Hunter with the Jags, McMillan with the Panthers, Emeka with the Bucks, Sanders with the Bucks, and Desmond Watson. Oh, the dude from Florida, 450 pound dude. Yeah.
He took
I kind of want to see that. I
he
got to see
lost a
that dude
lot
on
of
the
weight.
field.
He lost a lot of weight.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, looking at those, it's like I'm interested to see Emeka in Tampa Bay playing off of Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. I think that's going to be a good fit for him. Hunter with the Jags. I mean, you tell me what Trevor Lawrence looks like. That'll tell me what the Jags look like.
I don't care about Travis Hunter and the Jaguars.
Well, I mean, we know Jags, Colts. We know you're not interested. McMillan with the Panthers. You and I have talked about what the Panthers have done. We both like what the Panthers did this offseason.
That's my last name too.
Yes. So I mean, look, he says, look, you're a legit quarterback, Cameron Anthony Ward. How excited are you for Cam Ward?
I got a quarterback that talks crap to defensive linemen. I love this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dog. And they love him.
Yeah. Ward's biggest quality.
I don't want to hear anything about mayonnaise and coffee. I don't want to hear none of that. That's not my quarterback. Cam Ward is my quarterback. Just like you can just disown Bill Belichick and his foolishness with his 25-year-old girlfriend,
Mike
I could
Vrabel is
do
my
it with
coach.
Will.
Mike
Exactly. And
Vrabel is my
Cam
coach.
Ward is my quarterback.
Yes. Okay. Look, I think he's gonna be a breath of fresh air. And look, Will, if there's one thing about Will, he gave you a reason to watch because you had no idea what that man was about to do when he
Or
took a
what
snap.
meme is coming out of this damn game
Yeah.
next?
So Lisa Ward, you feel better about the guy under center
We
because
had more
Ward did
Will
it.
Levis memes than wins.
That's also true. Yeah. Yeah. And that commercial every week too did not
Every time. And
that
it'll
did
be
not
right,
serve Will
sometimes
Levis
it'll
well.
be right after the Titans do something absolutely, he would do something absolutely stupid. And then
Yep.
that dumbass commercial would come in and I want to throw my phone at the
Mm-hmm.
TV. Like, get
Yep.
this man off my TV. It was
Yep.
hard watching that. Y'all don't understand.
But you also know if he's Cam Ward's backup, the camera's gonna be on Will. Because they'll know, like, if Cam does something really well on the field, they'll probably cut to Will to see what kind of face he makes or something. They've already
Put a
established
mask on.
the man's a meme maker, so get him on the TV. Um, yeah, Titans fans should be excited for Ward.
Sure.
Let's see. Yeah, we talk about who Rodgers is throwing to. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm like you. I don't think this necessarily changes much for like Pittsburgh going forward. Good for his soul. I mean, he couldn't go anywhere else, so of course it's good for his soul.
Go meditate.
Yeah, there you go. Said Bella probably gets a break from barking with Ward because probably barked all the time with Will doing Will stuff.
Yeah, every time I get very visually upset, she usually either barks or runs off. She might be able to stay in with me while I watch football games this year.
All right, there you go. Okay, let's go. Oh,
My house.
mm-hmm,
She got to stay away from me.
mm-hmm. All right, so we talk about Steelers and Rodgers. I guess another bit of a bad start to the season. Training camp holdouts. The Bengals, they just keep doing this, but they had Trey Hendrickson. Then Trey Hendrickson was just out there in the wind. Nobody offered him anything. Now, reportedly, the Bengals are back talking to Hendrickson. Why, you may ask? Because the man who they drafted to replace Hendrickson, they can't sign him. And it's to the point where he may just re enter the draft and come back next season. I still don't think that happens. I think they find a way to get that done because the Bengals just have to. But should we buy into the Bengals and Hendrickson talking again?
No.
I mean, I guess it would depend on how far apart they were the first time they talked, but
Heard that they're still $6 to $7 million apart.
like if you're Joe Burrow, it's like it's 6 million. What are we doing? For a guy who didn't he led the league in sacks last year.
Yeah,
That's
but
not easy to replace.
we're talking about a team who's can't get a first round draft pick signed because of some damn wording in a contract. Not because of the
Yeah.
numbers, but because of words, because of the language.
Mm-hmm. See, Jerry Jones did something good this week. Gave a pay raise to the cheerleader. Well, I mean, cheerleaders
Let me
might be
tell
the
you
one thing
something.
to go watch the Cowboys for.
I am a retired cheerleader.
Okay.
Don't make me get any ideas.
Okay. It's okay. Well, there you go. It's like I guess if we see you rocking the Cowboy star,
And that's the
we'll know
only
why.
way why.
Yeah. Okay. Um, I mean, I guess it's good for Jerry to pay the cheerleaders. He might need to figure out a way to sign Micah and some other people, but hey, one step at a time. What about the Ravens picked up Jair?
John,
Yeah.
don't mention that damn team.
Every Ravens fan will let us know that they signed Jair Alexander. Yeah, we get it. Um, they should have the best backfield, in my opinion.
So I
They
shouldn't see
haven't lost
Roquan
because of
back
their
there.
defense. That's all I'll say. So if you're going to tell me the offense is going to actually perform in the playoffs, then they may win something. If not, they could bring in Ed Reed, Ray Lewis, Terrell Suggs, and they still won't win.
And Shannon Sharp. I don't
Yeah,
care.
I'm right there with you, John. Go Pats. Yeah, I mean, look, Jair Alexander, if he's healthy, it's an upgrade to a secondary that could use an upgrade.
But they pride physicality. He's gonna miss his games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it may be like, how does he perform? Marlon Humphrey needs to perform. He's going into a contract year. So take a
Pushing
chance.
30.
Yep. Throw as many guys that you can back there. Because look, the Ravens, they're gonna run into Buffalo at some point in the playoffs. Might run to Kansas City at some point. If the Bengals get their stuff together, you got a Bengals team that likes to throw the ball around. So
I hope they
load up on
stink.
the secondary. If that means Patrick Queen doesn't have to run in the middle, not Patrick Queen, Roquan Smith doesn't have to try to run in the middle of the field and cover people, fine. Because that man looked lost in coverage.
I hope they stink. Next.
Well, the problem is the division's kind of a problem right now, but they'll win their regular season games. I could look. I don't care if they win 14 games in the regular season. I would not make them the favorite in the playoffs because they haven't proven they should be. So their
I hope
season
they miss.
starts in January for me.
I hope they miss the playoffs. And let's have a conversation about that. Let
Well, I
that
mean,
happen.
if that happens, yes, we will probably dedicate a whole show talking about that. Um, yeah, good move. Ultimately, we'll see in the playoffs if it was the right move. Other training camp holdouts. Scary Terry is holding out for the Commanders. Debo Samuel looks like an offensive tackle playing wide receiver. I saw that video. I was
Traylon
like,
Burks looks like a tight end.
there's no way that was him. I was like, this man went from Swiss Army knife to blocking tight end. Like, I don't know what's going, but he'll probably play himself into shape or whatever. I don't know, but do
Traylon
we
Burks
really
showed up
think
in Fluffy.
he crazy? But do we think there's any chance that Terry McLaurin is not signed to the Commanders this season?
No.
I feel the same way. Yeah, they finally got a taste of success. Last thing you need is losing
To
your
disrupt it.
top offensive
Don't be a
weapon.
John Robinson. Do
Yeah.
not be a John Robinson. Don't take your team to a championship game and then trade away the best goddamn receiver for a pack of crackers and a other receiver who's allergic to bees and asthma and who shows up to minicamp fluffy as hell
Mm-hmm.
and who can't stay on the field.
Yep.
I'm not okay.
John, no, Hendrickson has not signed yet, and I think the last thing Hendrickson said, like Jory said, they're still kind of far apart on a contract. So at least they're talking. but we're kind of back at square one where they're not in the same ballpark. Debo looked like the Pillsbury Doughboy. I had, I was like, that man had the off season of his life. And
You
John
got
says he thinks Scary Terry's gonna go to Green Bay.
really, um, you got defensive linemen showing up to Camp Slim, 20 pounds down, and you got the right receiver showing up like a looking like a goddamn tight end. Sir, you were a first round draft pick. You
Mm-hmm.
do not need to be doing all of that. And you've barely seen the field. We replaced you were supposed to replace AJ Brown.
Mm-hmm.
And what have you done? Nothing. Next to nothing.
Yeah. So John was saying he thinks
Don't be
Henderson's gonna
John
go to Green
Robinson.
Bay.
Don't have a John Robinson as a GM.
Yeah. I mean, Debo looking like that might make the Commanders run to Terry even faster. It's like we need you now more than ever.
Exactly.
With our wide receiver look like a fullback. Let's see who else. T.J. Watt, a holdout, I believe.
Now, Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh is just due for some dark days, and they keep kicking that
Mm-hmm.
damn can down, kicking that can down the road, and the
Mm-hmm.
can is slowly. The thing is, the amount they keep kicking is just keep getting shorter.
Mm-hmm.
Like they kick it far one time, and then they get back up to the can, they kick it, and it don't go as far. Then they get back to the can, and then they kick it again, and it goes even shorter.
Mm-hmm.
They're due for it. They're just holding on to everything that they possibly can
Yeah.
at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with Pittsburgh. I know they have talent. I think they just need a whole shift, a whole organizational shift.
That's what it kind of seems like this season's going to be in Pittsburgh. Like that final run with Tomlin and some of these other guys that are on the team, like a Cam Hayward type. But next season, I think, like you said, there's going to be some shift in philosophy or something. Because look, Rodgers is probably not going to be part of the plans next year. Like I said, Tomlin. Like if Tomlin takes this group and wins 9, 10 games, that man's going to be a Steeler for life at that point.
Mhm.
But the way it's like, this could be a season where they're like 5-12, and you're just like, where did it all go wrong? And like you said, just look at some of the decisions they made the last couple of years, and it's like maybe this was the destiny. And yeah, I I have no idea what to think of the Steelers next season. Only because we thought the last couple of years they weren't that good of a team, and then they go on some like quiet second half run, and then you look up, they win 9, 10 games. It's like how? So if they can do it this year, that means they probably like swept the Browns, maybe swept the Bengals or something, and split with the Ravens somehow. I just don't know how you do that with that team. The O line isn't great. You got an
Mm-mm.
immobile quarterback. You have one wide receiver and a tight end, and not much else. Like, yeah, I don't know. Is James Cook signed? No, I think
No.
James Cook is also a guy that looking for a deal.
I hope you're not trying to get no Derrick Henry money.
Yeah, yeah, I wouldn't do that with James Cook. I mean, James Cook has turned himself into an important part of the Buffalo offense, but
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't break the bank for him. I mean, I like James Cook a lot, but I think Buffalo needs to get him signed, but nothing too crazy. Let's see. All right, so do we want to do the quarterback wide receiver duos or save that for next week and get in the final bird?
We'll say that for next week.
All right, let's go final bird then. So those of you who are
I'm gonna
new,
let you get yours first.
Oh, I get the honors to go first. Okay. So yeah, Jory and I will kind of look at the week that was, player, team, whatever that kind of got on our nerves, and talk about it. Uh, Dallas needs to do something with Parsons for Okay, that was weird. Um, you guys can hear me? Yes, Damien, I agree. I said I was gonna go in on LeBron, and then Streamyard went crazy. Um, so yeah, hold on a second. Let me see. I get Jory back in. Yeah. Okay, final burn. That's what we're doing. So if you're new to the show, Jory and I will look back at the week that was. We kind of target player team that might have got on our nerves. And for me, final burn this week, I'm going at LeBron James because on his podcast that he used to do with JJ Redick, I believe he does it with Steve Nash now, I think. And yeah, I think stream are completely frozen. It looks like we're back. Um, so yeah, LeBron talking to Steve Nash was talking about ring culture, how it's bad for the NBA and all this kind of stuff. I'm going to paraphrase because this was LeBron doing LeBron. Like, because he's like, so Charles Barkley wasn't great because he didn't win a ring and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, bro, you left Cleveland because you couldn't win in Cleveland and you couldn't beat Paul Pierce and them in Boston. So you bounced, went to Miami with a team that had Dwayne Wade and you got Kevin Love to go there with you. So you guys could win. And then it was, you and Bosch or whatever. No, yeah, Love was like the second time you went back or whatever. But you kept bouncing around to put yourself in a better situation to win a ring. And LeBron's the same dude that they beat the Warriors. He's the one who went on his little shop shows. Like, that's when I knew I was the greatest of all time. If you don't want to talk about ring culture, why were you the greatest of all time? Because you won a ring over the Warriors team. But now, because he knows he's come to the end of his career, he knows him and the Lakers probably aren't going to win enough to catch up to Jordan's ring total. Now he's saying ring culture doesn't matter. LeBron's done this for 20 something years. If there's one thing he's good at, it is manipulating narratives for his game. And that's all he's doing with this. Because he wants it to be that when his, well, how can, you know, winning rings isn't easy or whatever. And try to act like he's the GOAT over Jordan. I'm going to say, well, whatever, because he just is to me. So I don't care how many rings LeBron gets. Jordan, me, greatest player I've seen play. I don't want to disrespect Bill Russell and all those guys who won as well. I just didn't watch them play, so I don't know. The bubble ring, since I mean, look, the bubble ring is the bubble ring. I love how the Lakers won the bubble ring and LeBron's stands are like toughest ring possible to win or something like that. Any ring is a tough ring to win. So
Exactly. So shut your
I
ass
think it's
up.
LeBron
Talk about that.
being
Like,
hypocritical, if you want to say, yeah, if you want to say he's being a narcissist or whatever you want to attach to it. Because as he said, rings are a team accomplishment. But once again, your team beat the Warriors player. So which one is it? Is it a team accomplishment or not? I'm gonna need LeBron to pick a lane, but we know he never will.
mm-mm.
So yeah, I mean, that's that's all I really had for LeBron. I'm gonna let you go ahead with yours.
No, because as a fellow intellectual, as somebody who has always liked to learn,
Mm-hmm.
one thing, and yes, I am gonna go in with a soliloquy because this pissed me off. And you know exactly where I'm going with it. As somebody who has always liked to learn, who has always been in books, who has always been into documentaries and all this other stuff, who has always liked to go to museums and things like that. As somebody who can be a little bit of a nerd,
Mm-hmm.
when you have your professional players talking about, I don't believe in history past 1950. So your brain just made out of the goddamn lollipops? Pat Riley was born in 1945. What the hell is he supposed to be? A ghost? A figment of time? A time traveling humanoid? What sense? Make it make sense. I don't believe in history
Mm-hmm.
past 1945. When was the camera invented, dumb nuts? Cameras and videos existed in 1950. So they just made up a whole bunch of historical BS to fill these textbooks with. They just made everything up that's in the archives. Everything is a fable.
Mm-hmm.
The museums, they just get fake stuff off of Amazon and off of Temu. It's not like you can't just go actually look at the Declaration of Independence. You can't see it. You can go see the Constitution. You smooth brain bad. What the hell is your issue? I know your mother is proud of you. Do you not have great grandparents? How the hell did you think you got here? I don't believe in history past 1950. And I'm not like, bro. So much nonsense. It's just stupid. I don't believe in history past 1950. So slavery didn't exist. The Holocaust never happened. The American Revolution is just a figment of our dreams. We're supposed to be the 13 original colonies. Actually, everybody's supposed to be a Native American. The hell is he talking about? I don't believe in history past 1950.
First car, nothing.
First card, the Bible ain't real.
Yeah.
Hieroglyphics are just alien nonsense.
You just have to look at the person who said it. Like, it makes sense.
You don't believe in history past 1950. And the biggest thing about that is the person who drafted your stupid ass was born in 1945.
Mm-hmm.
Is he a robot? What is he supposed to be? You kidding me? I'm too much of an intellectual for conspiracy theories.
Mm-hmm.
I'm too smart for that. I've seen some of this stuff myself. I've been to DC. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just George Washington just on the dollar bill for no freaking reason. Wait a
It
minute.
was.
That's not even the biggest thing. Did dinosaurs even exist? We have the bones. They're in the museums.
Mm-hmm.
It's been proved about woolly mammoths. They just bought back dire wolves, by the way.
I thought that should have been the follow up. when he said he didn't believe anything before 1950, they should have asked him about stuff that happened and said, "So what really happened then?" Because I think he would have dug himself in an incredible hole to get himself out of.
So the dinosaurs didn't exist. The comet didn't happen. Neanderthals aren't real.
Theory of relativity, gravity from Isaac
Gravity,
Newton, all that. Yeah.
all of that is not real.
Mm-hmm. Galileo, none of that. Yeah, they missed an opportunity to go all the way in on Hero with that one. I, yeah. Damien, I'll touch on your comments after Jory's done.
I'm gonna let you sit here and ruin my rampage because
Yeah.
I've been sitting on that for 2 freaking weeks. How
Mm-hmm.
could you sit here and say I don't believe in history past 1950? And this thing is, I had a coworker who I was talking about it with you the other day. He ain't watching this, so I don't give a damn. Um, he said I don't believe in history past 2012. Well, dumbass, how the hell your ass got here? Is you a robot? A figment of imagination? You freaking kidding me? And then the reasoning. The
Mm-hmm.
reasoning. Because it didn't happen on camera. Even though if it did happen on camera, I probably still wouldn't believe it. I believe you're
It's it, look. That's what makes the world interesting. There are people out here who think that way. It also makes it scary because people actually think that way.
how I don't believe in history past 2012. Mind you, you were born in 2001.
Yeah. So
So did you
10
just
years
fly
of
off
his
of a
life,
UFO
10 years,
and time
10 years of
travel?
his life was just a blank slate. Nothing happened. That is wild. Like it's one thing
It
1950s because Hero isn't that old, so it's like okay to say
He has
2012 and
grandparents.
2025 is nuts.
His dad was born in what, 68?
Mm-hmm.
He has grandparents. What are they supposed to be? Aliens?
I assume he just doubted every bedtime story they ever told him about some war and stuff. He was probably like, I guess. Like that's the wild part too, because he had grandparents telling us some stories about back in the day. So I guess he thought they were just stories made up. That is crazy. I'll tell you, somebody else needs to interview Tyler Hero and press him on it.
Because of
Like,
me and
how
sheer
deep is this
stupidity.
going down?
Me and sheer stupidity
Mm-hmm.
don't get along.
Yeah.
Pat Riley was born in 1945.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he must think I'm a figment of his imagination or something.
Mm-hmm.
He must not think I'm real. I might need to just punch his ass just let him know I got it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm real. And yeah. You hear somebody say some crazy crap like that, I'm like, It makes my brain combust and my ass itch. Like that type of stupidity just it blows me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe the 2012 one made it worse.
Mm-hmm.
Cause I'm like, so Barack Obama did. We didn't go through Ebola. We didn't go through the bird flu. Bin Laden is still alive.
Hurricane Katrina didn't happen.
Katrina didn't happen.
Yeah.
All those tornadoes didn't happen.
Mm-hmm. Some people who are too smart.
So
Yeah.
there's that. I'll leave the rest of my final burns for next week.
Okay.
I just had that one was the one I had to get off my chest.
Look, I saw the video and I was just like, "There's no way he could really think that," but he did. Um. Yeah.
Damon,
So.
don't start that.
Uh, yeah. Would it surprise you if Tyler Hero thought that? No.
At this point,
He may think the Earth is just a drawing on some wall somewhere.
he probably think the Earth is a concept.
Yeah. Yeah. He would. Yeah. He would be that type who thinks they're so smart and he'll come with some crazy. Yeah. But So Damon, to go back to your comment about you hate the side with LeBron, same time kind of agree with him in a sense. Yeah. So here's the thing though. Nobody talks rings when you're talking about Hall of Fame careers because there's plenty of guys in the Hall of Fame who don't have any rings. They look at your body of work. Um, and I don't even think LeBron was even talking about that aspect of it because he was more so. Look, when you hear LeBron talk, you got to realize he's talking about himself. He brought up other players. He doesn't care about their resume. He's talking about his resume because his resume is going to be compared to Michael Jordan. And he knows he's going to fall short in probably the biggest category, titles. So he, by saying rings are a team accomplishment, he's telling you the years he didn't win was because of his team, not him. I would sit here and tell you there's some rings in there that he didn't win because of his own play, but we all know he doesn't like to take blame for anything.
Like
This is
that
the
one
same man who lost
versus
the
Dallas.
exactly. You're losing being put in a torture chamber by Jason Terry. Well, this is also a guy who lost the finals and went to the press conference at the end of the series with a mysterious cast on his hand that nobody could understand where that came from. This man's been manipulating narratives for his whole career. So don't read too much into what he was saying, like he actually cares about Barkley, Ewing, and these other names. It was more for himself to look better. Obviously, not to his own fans, because his own fans are going to call him the GOAT no matter what. But, it's the man who goes to Miami, not one, not two, six, not seven. He won two there. He swore he couldn't win in Cleveland because whatever. So he leaves there, but then magically runs back there because they have Kyrie Irving. And he gets, another great to go along with him. So he's been out here chasing rings his whole career.
And the only
But
reason why this is even a thing, especially when it comes to LeBron, is because Curry went and got another ring.
yes, and I told people this all the time. You want to get LeBron fans riled up. You bring up two names and two names only. Kevin Durant or Steph Curry. And the fact that Steph Curry has the same amount of rings does not sit well with LeBron fans. So now LeBron has to differentiate himself with something else. And that's where this whole conversation came from.
I
So,
would say the two names would be Michael Jordan and Steph Curry.
but I mean, most LeBron fans, they discredit Jordan because they're talking about he played against like plumbers and stuff. So they don't even care about that. But Curry threatening LeBron is not what they want. They don't want to have that conversation. And KD, they kill KD for the Golden State move. Once again, LeBron started in Cleveland, moved to Miami, back to Cleveland, moved to LA. They don't care. But KD makes one move to Golden State and they killed that man for it. So it's it's just a lot of hypocritical talk from one Mr. LeBron James. But we're coming up on 2 hours. I feel like it's a good place to end it there. I do appreciate that comment, Damien, because I feel like if it was somebody else other than LeBron, we probably would take the conversation differently. But the fact that LeBron wanted to have this conversation, I was not going to let that go. But yeah, so sorry about the technical difficulties that happened. Appreciate those of you that did stay. Hopefully next week does not happen. But yeah, Jory, anything you want to tell them about before we get out of here?
Subscribe to Jory Sports Stories, YouTube. I'll have some material coming out soon. It's been very hard lately to get content out, but I do plan have some things in the arsenal.
There you go. For me, you check me out, Chomping at the Bit. I've actually been sick the past couple of days, so I haven't done any content, but we'll start doing some stuff this weekend. You can also check out the Wire to Wire website for articles and everything. Jory's got some articles up there. I have some up there. Actually working on one on the Dolphins right now because I have been going through the NFL teams for the off season. But yes, make sure you go check out that. Like the Facebook page and everything. Our show, we do have a blog. Go check that out as well. But yeah, I guess that's kind of it for tonight. Like I said, hopefully no technical difficulties next week, but appreciate those of you for sticking around. We're going to get out of here. You enjoy the rest of your night and your weekend, and make sure you're back here next Friday for another edition of the show. For myself and Jory, good night.